Hey guys, I am so excited to be sharing with you the new FORD Soleil collection. I ran to my local Neiman Marcus here when my essay there told me that he had gotten all of the new pieces in, and I was like, hang on, I'll be right there. So I sped on over there and I fell in love with every single piece. So I bought it all. It includes a lot of like cheek products and a lot of eye products. And then there's also some lip balms, which of course I will swatch for you. So I'm going to be like swatching and showing all the pieces to you. I'm going to be doing some comparison swatches at the end of this video for you. I think I have a fuzzy on my face. But I am not going to be able to demo everything because there's just a lot of like eye products. For instance, there's 3 eye quads included in this collection, and then there's also 2 cream and powder eyeshadow duos. So what I'm going to do today in today's demo is show you the cream and eye duos. I'm going to use one on one eye, one on the other, and then what I'm going to do is I'll have individual videos on each of the new quads. And just recently he released all of those quads, and I did a video for each one, and I think you guys liked that the most. But I will do swatching and I will show you everything, and I will do comparison swatches today. I just want to let you know that there won't be any demos, actual demos of the quads, but those will be coming this week. While I was able to kind of, play around and swatch all of the products yesterday after I purchased them, this really is like a first impression. I have not put any of these products actually on my face, and I don't think any of these formulas are brand new, except for one thing, which I will point out. So like I mentioned, I purchased all of these at Neiman Marcus, actually in store. I have started to see these products pop up on online retailers, but they all seem to be either out of stock or, coming soon. So I'll be updating the description box down below with links as they become available, and definitely follow me on Instagram. I usually post on my stories when new products pop up so that you guys are informed when new things arrive online. And my Instagram handle is down below in the description box as well. It's the Michelle Wang. So why don't we get started with the glow sticks? So the glow sticks are these dual-ended cream sticks, and they came packaged in the typical Soleil box, and 3 of them were released with this collection, which I was really excited about because I don't know if it was last year's Winter Soleil collection or maybe the year before. I'm completely losing track of time. They've already released one of these glow sticks, and they called it the Shade and Illuminate Glow Stick. Now they've just kind of pared down the name, and now it's just referred to as the glow stick. But the previous one is called Sunstruck, and I really enjoyed this one. It had like a nice like highlighter at one end, and on the other hand it had this really beautiful bright punchy cheek color. So in my comparison swatches, I will have this compared to one of them that I thought could be a little bit similar. So this is not a completely brand new product, but these 3 colors that they've released with this collection are brand new. So the first one is, and I'm going to slaughter all of these names. Let me just warn you now. I am definitely going to be slaughtering all of these names. So the first one is Soleil Neige. I'm not sure, but Soleil Neige is the perfume and cologne that also came out with this collection, which I did not purchase. I'm not generally a fan of FORD scents. They have a very, very strong, like musky undertone, which is not my favorite. I like fragrances that are a little bit lighter. So I did not purchase that, but I do think, I'm calling this the Winter Soleil collection just because it makes sense to me. But I think that they may be referring to this collection as the Soleil Neige Collection. So this is the glow stick, and one end we have a highlighter, and then at the other end we have a blush. And here are some swatches of that. And the swatch of the highlighter, it's much more golden tone than it appears in the stick. I think in the stick, I thought it was going to be very icy, very white kind of highlight, but it does actually come off very, very gold. I think it's very, very beautiful, but it is a little bit different, I think, on the skin than it appears in the stick. Next, we have 03 Megeve, and this one is gorgeous. So this is the highlight at one end, and then the blush on the other. It's much more neutral than the Soleil Neige. And here it is swatched. And then last but not least, we have color number 04 Courchouval. And this one is a very deep, gorgeous color. So here is the highlight, and then here is the blush. And here are swatches of those 2 shades. And then next up, there's 2 glow drops that are included in this collection. Again, they came in the gold foil Soleil box. And the first one is 03 Reflects Gilt. And this is what the bottles look like. And again, these are not new. They've come out with these glow drops, I think in the Winter Soleil collection, which I really, really, really enjoyed. Very, very beautiful. And again, we'll have comparison swatches at the end of this video. So this is what the bottle looks like. And when you turn it and you open it up, it actually is like sucking the product up at the same time and the button pops up. And then it's like a dropper situation. So here is a swatch of Reflects Gilt. And you'll notice that it's very gold, but it's also not very warm. It's not very yellowy. I feel like the tone of it is much more sandy than it is yellow. And then there is Glacial Rose, number 4. And this one is really, really beautiful. This will probably end up being more of a blush than a highlight on me, but on a deeper skin tone, I would imagine this just to be a stunning, stunning highlight. And again, I'll have comparison swatches at the end of this video, but I did want to mention that when I first pulled this out, I immediately thought of the Skin Illuminator in Fire Lust, which I have, and that is this guy, but you'll see that this is deeper. This is much, much like frostier on the skin, and this is a product I like actually adding into foundation if I just want to add a little bit of color. Nothing too bronzy, but just something that kind of wakens my skin a little bit. This is a really nice addition to foundation. So anyway, comparison swatches at the end. All right, so those are all of the like cheek and face products. Let's move over into the eye products. And so there are 3 quads, and these are they're just so beautiful. I think they just did such a good job with the color stories of all of these. So let me start with number 1, Soleil Neige. And that is this quad with the like navy and gunmetal color at the bottom. Isn't it beautiful? And all of these quads have that wet dry formula that if you've been with me for a while, you know how much I love this formula. It's just so, so beautiful. It's so refined, either wet or dry. I think you just get such a smooth pigment, but they're reflective. Anyway, they're just gorgeous. So here are some dry swatches of the 4 shades. And here are some wet swatches of the 4 shades. Next we have Soleil et Lune, and this one really took my breath away. This has the green pop of color down here in the bottom right hand corner, and it's just stunning. I love how all of the color stories in all of these quads are very watercolory. They're not super, super bright. I just think they're so appropriate for like a Soleil collection. It's just really stunning. So here are some dry swatches of this quad. And here are some wet swatches. And then last but not least, we have Soleil Diver, number 03. And this one, just by looking at it, could be my favorite. And this one is just really neutral, leaning warm, very, very, everyday kind of quad. And here are some dry swatches. And here are the wet swatches. So again, I won't be demoing these today, but I will be doing individual videos for each one of these coming up this week. So keep an eye out for that. So he's also released as part of this collection 2 new cream and powder eye colors. And the first one is, sorry, I'm trying to read this box. It's very reflective. 11 Fleur Neige, and that is this one. So here's a close-up of this color. It's just gorgeous. Every single piece in this collection I think is just stunning. So for my swatches here, you'll see that I have the powder top coat, then I have the cream color, and then what I've done is I've swatched the cream color with the top coat on top, which is how you're kind of supposed to wear these. Obviously you can do whatever you want, but that's how they're meant to be worn. And then the second one is number 12, Reflection. This one is a little bit of a departure from what Tom Ford normally does with these cream and powder eye duos. The powder on top, you'll probably notice in the close-up here, the powder on top is a much deeper pigmented kind of color. Generally what they've done with these duos is the powder shadow is like a very sheer kind of top coat, again, meant to kind of be layered on top of the cream shadow. And I've always found that they work really well. Sometimes they're a little bit hard or whatever, but in terms of them being like these just glistening kind of like wet effect top coats, I think they're very effective. This is completely different. This is like an eyeshadow. So what I did at the swatches here, again, I swatched the powder, then I swatched the cream, and then when I tapped the powder on top of the cream, I did it with a really, really light hand because I didn't want the powder to completely kind of blank out and cover up the cream shadow. But I love these two cream and eye duo releases. I find the first one, the Fleur Neige, to be much more neutral and cooler toned, and I find this Reflection duo to be much warmer and much more dramatic. So when I looked at them immediately, I thought of like this being the daytime, the Fleur Neige to being, you know, like a daytime eye duo, and this to be like really great for like an evening look. So I will be demoing these today. I'll be doing one on one eye, one on the other. So I'll be looking really special. And I will have comparison swatches at the end of this video for the cream shadows down here. All right, and last but not least, we have some lip balms. So there's 4 new lip balms, and I've only purchased one tinted lip balm of Tom Ford's previously, and where is that actually? And it's color number La Piscine. It's like this very dark kind of berry color. I don't wear this color very often, so I don't wear this lip balm very often, but I do like the formula, and I've just never been drawn to any of the colors that they've had available until this collection. I couldn't decide, so I got all of them. So all of these are clutch sized versus the full size lipstick. So these are the same size as like the boys and girls lipstick. So it's the smaller size versus the regular size lipstick of Tom Ford's. So the first color is 01 Reflection, and this looks just plain old white in the tube. But here is a swatch of it, and you can see that there's a really pretty kind of frosty glisten to that. And then next we have 02 Opera Soleil, and this is gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous. This is just a really beautiful nude colored balm. And all of these balms are definitely sheer, on the sheer side, but there's enough pigment there to show up on the lips. I did play with these last night, and I will swatch all of these for you. And then next we have 05 Bay Diver, and this one is like a very cool toned kind of grayish purple. Just I think perfect for fall, winter. And then last but not least, we have 07 Paradiso. And this is a really bright, punchy coral color. All right, so those are all the close-ups and the swatches of all of the products. So what we're gonna do now is try and put as much of it onto my face as possible. I'm thinking I'll be able to do the 2 lighter glow sticks, and then we can go ahead and swatch the glow drops. I mean, I've just resigned myself that I'm gonna end up looking super crazy by the end of this video. And then I'll do each eye duo, one on each eye, and then I will swatch all of the lip balms for you. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the glow stick 02 Soleil Neige. This is the first one I showed you. So this one has like the brighter, warmer toned blush and highlight. And I'm gonna go ahead and just dot that onto my cheeks and just use my finger to blend that out. I have on foundation, concealer, primer, and I do have a little bit of powder down. I just felt like I looked really super shiny today for some reason. I am a little bit warm. I just did work out, so I think that has something to do with it. But I will leave everything that I have on my face down below in my description box if you are interested. So because I do have a little bit of powder down, I am always a little bit more careful about any cream products that I put on top. I like to kind of pat instead of swipe. So that is what I'm doing. I love this color, and I like this formula. It's very creamy, but it's not, you know, it's not too oily, but I also feel like it has set down, but it doesn't feel dry or powdery in any way. It's really nice. It rides like a really nice line between something that's too oily or too dry. And now let me go ahead and apply some of this highlighter. And I'm just tapping that right above the blush there. Ooh, that leaves a beautiful sheen. This is the one that I thought looked very, very white in the tube, but much golder when I swatched it. But I think it looks really nice on the skin. This definitely feels a little bit more oily than the blush, but not too bad. It just feels a little bit stickier on the skin than the blush does. But I think that kind of helps with the reflectiveness of the highlight. Let me add a little bit more over here. Really beautiful. This gives you a really nice kind of like sweaty highlight. So that's the Soleil Neige. And then next we have 03, don't know how to pronounce it, Megeve. And I'm going to start with the blush on this one. And this is much more neutral in tone. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to dot it on and then blend it in with my fingers. Gorgeous. This comes off on my skin like a little bit more pink once I've rubbed it in than this one. I don't know if you guys can see that difference. But this is like peachier and this is a little bit more pink. Put a little bit more on right there. I find this to have the same texture as this one. But now let's go ahead and play with this highlight. This highlight, right off the bat, I feel like maybe a little bit too deep for my skin tone, but we will see. With cream products, it's always hard to tell how they're going to come off. Oh, but this one looks okay. This comes off with a really nice kind of cool toned reflection. It's a little bit more silvery than this one. This is definitely a little bit more gold, which I think works with the peach, and this works really nicely with this more pink toned blush. So I would say this one is the cooler toned one, and the 02 is the warmer toned stick. So I'm not sure how I can fit the darker toned, the Courchouval color into my routine. I was thinking maybe on my eyes or whatever. So I think what I may do is actually use this color in like a trying new makeup video and just kind of play around with it then, because I want to move on to the glow drops. So I think what I'll do is apply the Reflects Gilt. I'll just apply that right here on my forehead just so you guys can see, you know, what it looks like on my skin. I know it's going to look crazy, right? We've already decided that I'm going to look nuts, but I'm just going to go ahead and drop one drop on my hand. You really don't need much of this. I'm just going to go ahead and tap some right into the center of my forehead here. And I'm just going to blend that in. So there's Reflects Gilt on my forehead. I hope you guys can see that. Let me run some down my nose. Maybe you can see that a little bit better too. But it has a very kind of like neutral metallic tone. Again, a surprise to me. Whenever I hear Reflects Gilt, especially in the Tom Ford line, I always think it's going to be something pretty gold. But this has a pretty neutral kind of undertone to it. And I think it looks really nice. You know, it doesn't look too yellow on my skin. And then next we have the Glacial Rose Glow Drops. And I think I'm just going to layer this kind of right on top of my cheeks here. And again, I'm just going to drop one drop onto the back of my hand. And for this, actually, I'm going to use my sponge here. And I use this for my foundation application today, but I'm going to use like a cleaner butt side over here and just pick some of this up and just tap it on there. I'm going to drop a little bit more because I think the sponge ate up a bit of the product. Definitely medium to deeper skin tone friendly if you want to highlight. It's really, really beautiful. And the tone of this is a little bit on the warm side. All right, so I think that's all the cheek and face products I can squeeze onto my face at the moment. So let's go ahead and move over into eyes. I am really excited to play with these duos. Let's start with 11, the Fleur Neige. This is the one that I thought would be a little bit more, you know, daytime appropriate. So I'm going to go ahead and lay down the cream color first and then tap the top coat over it. Got my Sonia G Worker 2 brush here. I'm going to go ahead and just tap very lightly into this cream shadow. The Tom Ford cream shadows are on the softer side, especially compared to like the Chanel cream shadows or even the Chantecaille cream shadows. These are more moussey. They're like the Charlotte Tilbury. Those two are very, very similar. So I like to be careful with it because you pick up quite a bit very quickly. And I'm just going to start by dabbing that on and then blending it in. I love this color. It is definitely on the cooler side. It has like almost like an elephant gray kind of tone to it. And I find that these cream shadows don't set down completely, but they set down enough. You know, it's not something where, you know, I'm going to want to rub my eye or anything, but I don't feel like they melt or get goopy or that they're hard to remove at the end of the day or anything like that. All right, so there is the color on my lid. Really beautiful. Again, very like cool toned grayish taupe color. And then I'm going to go ahead and tap some of this top coat on, and I'm just going to use my finger. And I'm going to press that on. And it instantly gives it this like silvery appearance. So pretty. All right, so there is Fleur Neige. I'm gonna go ahead and try this reflection one now. And this is the one that has the more golden toned cream shadow underneath and the darker top coat. So this will be interesting. Very excited to give this a shot. I'm just gonna clean off my brush here. And I'm gonna dip into the cream and apply to the lid. So there's the cream shadow down. I love how it has like almost like a satin finish versus something like very, very metallic. I think it's really beautiful all by itself. All right, and now for the darker top coat. So I wonder if I should use a brush just so I can make sure my application is precise. Like with the sheer top coat, I kind of don't care if it kind of gets everywhere, but with something this deep, I'm a little bit more concerned. So I'm going to use, let me try my Chikuhodo GSN 9 brush. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up some of this product and then just start to tap it on. Let me just use my finger maybe and kind of get some up higher, kind of smoke it out a little bit. Oh, that's pretty. I think you can do a nice gradient actually from this deep brown into the cream shadow. I'm going to take this Worker 2 brush again and see if I can blend this out a little bit. Ooh, I really, really like that. And I definitely don't think that this is just for evening. I think this is great for daytime too. You just get a really nice kind of easy smoky eye there. I'm going to go ahead and use my liner brush and go into this color. I want to see if I can use this as liner along my lower lash line. Oh, pretty. So here is the Fleur Neige and here is Reflection. Obviously warm, cool, really pretty. I am very, very happy with both of those. So before we get into the lip balm swatches, what I will do is kind of just finish up my eyes, mascara, maybe a little bit more liner to kind of even out my eyes here, eyebrows, all that stuff. And I'll be right back. All right, so my eyes are done. I did I did the same thing under like on my lower lash line on both of my eyes, and this is such a lighter kind of touch on top that I feel like this looks way too deep on the bottom, but I think it looks okay on this eye. Anyway, I look crazy as I promised I would. So let's go ahead and move on to the lip balms. Let's start with one Reflection. This is the one that's like just a frosty kind of like top coat. Really, really soft moisturizing feeling. Actually not very different from the Tom Ford lipsticks. They all have just a really smooth, creamy moisturizing feeling to them. This probably feels a little bit thinner, like the heat of my skin is like melting it a little bit more quickly and like it's being absorbed into my lips a little bit more quickly than like the regular lipstick, but they feel similar going on. So that is the number one Reflection, really just a lip balm with just a little hint of something there. Here is number 2, FORD Soleil, which is my favorite. I feel like this is, in the truest sense, like Your Lips But Better kind of a situation. I really feel like, I don't know if it's the color or the formula, or maybe it's a combination of both, but I feel like my lips look softer when I put this one on. And then we have 05 Bay Diver, and this is that cool toned kind of grayish purple color. Ooh, that's really pretty. And this definitely, I think, would look really nice with like a cool toned eye look like that. Let's just imagine for one moment. All right, and last but not least is 07 Paradiso, and I feel like this is gonna look nice with the warmer toned eye look. I believe there's a Paradiso lip color sheer, which I love, and that one definitely has a little bit more pigment than this one. This one is definitely more of just a tinted balm. Yeah, I like this one with the warmer toned eye look. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the comparison swatches. So I did my best. There's a lot of cream blushes in my collection, so I really just sat there and pulled out ones that I thought looked the most similar, The formulas all are a little bit different, so I would never call something a total dupe if the formula is different, you know, at least to the touch. So anyway, these were as close as I could get. But what I've done is from left to right, I have swatched the original Tom Ford Glow Stick in Sunstruck, and that's the blush you see all the way on the left. And then what you'll see is the newer Glow Stick blush, the number 2, the Soleil Neige. That's the first one that I swatched on my face. And then next to that, we have the Nude Sticks blush in Tiger Lily. And then we have the Glossier Cloud Paint in Dawn. Next to that, we have the Kit Cream Makeup in Daiquiri. Then we have the Chantecaille Aqua Blush in Marigold. And then last but not least, we have Rose Milk from M Cosmetics. That's one of their color serum blushes. So nothing in my collection was, you know, spot on to the Soleil Neige. And then next we have the 03 glow stick, the Megeve. So that is swatched all the way on the left. And what I have next to that going from left to right is the Westman Atelier Baby Cheeks blush stick in Chouchette. Next to that, I have the Clé de Peau cream blush in number 4. And then I have the Sicily Phyto blush twist in number 6. Passion. And then last but not least, I have the blush color from the Chanel Palette Essentielle in 150 Beige Clair. So again, I find all of these to be kind of close, but none of them to be, you know, pretty much like a dead-on dupe for the Megeve color from Tom Ford. All right, next up we have the Glow Drops. So the Reflex Gilt in Tom Ford, that's the new Glow Drops. I have that swatched in between the 2 older Glow Drops that I have, which is number 1, Liquid Sun. That's the one that looks white in the bottle, but it really has just such a beautiful, you know, metallic reflective quality to it. And then on the other side of Reflex Gilt, I have 02 Liquid Sky, which is just a little bit deeper, a little bit warmer than the Reflex Gilt. And then we have the Tom Ford Glow Drops in Glacial Rose. That's the other new one. And I have that swatched next to the Tom Ford Skin Illuminator in Fire Lust. That's the one that I mentioned earlier in the video. And the Fire Lust is lighter, and it's a little bit brighter than the Glacial Rose. All right, and on to the eye quads. So I'm going to do comparison swatches for the 01 Soleil Neige first. So what I've done is I've compared the Soleil Neige quad to 2 other quads. The first one being the exclusive from Nordstrom, the white suede quad. That was exclusive, I think, last year sometime. And then on the other side, I have the double indemnity quad from Tom Ford. So I've swatched them from the top row, you know, left to right, and then the bottom row, left to right. And I've done each shade from each quad first. So that's what you see going from left to right. So you'll see the top left shade from the white suede, then the new Soleil Neige, and then the double indemnity. And so that's what I've done all the way across here. So I found these color stories to be the most similar to the Soleil Neige, but really there isn't anything that's kind of like a dead-on dupe. And the navy colors in the white suede and the Soleil Neige, while they're similar, the formulas are completely different. So the one in the white suede is more of just a kind of a typical pressed powder. And so that's going to come off looking a lot more pigmented than what's in the Soleil Neige. But this wet dry formula of Tom Ford's, it just has a completely different look and feel to them. And I should mention that all of these are swatched dry. And then next up is Soleil Diver, and this is number 3, the new one. And what I've done is I've done the same thing. I found 2 quads that I thought were similar, and in fact, these 2 quads I felt like if they had a baby, this is what would come out. So the one on the left is Suspicion, and then the one on the right is Nude Dip. And again, I've done the same thing with the swatches. So on the left, you'll see the top left-hand color from the Suspicion quad, and then you'll see the top left-hand swatch of the Soleil Diver, and then you'll see the top left-hand swatch of the Nude Dip quad. And you'll see that going from left to right. So similar color stories again, but no dead-on dupes. I do feel like all of the shades in all of these quads are very, very unique. And then Soleil et Lune, I didn't compare this to anything because I don't have anything in my collection quite like this at all, especially this green. It's such a soft, kind of like desaturated emerald green. It's very, very unique, at least to me. So now moving on to the cream and powder eye duos. I just did comparisons for the cream shadows at the bottom. So first we have number 11, Fleur Neige, and I have that swatch next to the cream color in the Tom Ford duo Young Adonis. Next to that, I have the Tom Ford cream color for eyes in 05 Burnished Copper. Then I have the Chanel Illusion d'Ombre number 5 Mirage. And then last but not least, all the way on the right, I have an Ombre Premier from Chanel, an 822 Silver Screen. And now for the cream shadow in the Reflection duo, I have that swatched first on the left. And then next to that, I have the cream shadow swatch from the Tom Ford duo Sun Worship. Next to that, I have the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerize in Star Gold. Then I have the Eyes to Mesmerize in Bet. Next to that, I have the Hourglass Scattered Light Glitter Eyeshadow in Foil. And then last but not least, I have the Natasha Denona Chroma Crystal Liquid Eyeshadow in Obeyed. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found all the information helpful. Again, I will be doing individual videos for all of these quads, so definitely subscribe down below if you're interested in seeing those. And I'm going to be doing a couple of trying new makeup videos coming up, and I think I'm going to try and incorporate some more of these products in there since I wasn't able to use them, fully. We were just kind of playing around with everything today. So give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.